Hey guys, what's up? It's your big bold bad boy Jules here with another episode of Ups and Downs for The Walking Dead Season 8. This episode, number 2, is called The Damned. Is it any good? Well, all I do know is I don't have my Negan cosplay yet. Haven't bought that for me, have they? Doesn't really matter. I still look like I've been through the bloody apocalypse. So, last week, Mercy dropped, and while it wasn't the best episode, it definitely wiped away the sour taste that Season 7 had left in our mouths. But can Episode 2 pick up the ball and run with it to the 30-yard line and score a three-pointer from the 18th hole? Who knows? I don't do sports. So, let's begin with an up. Now, last week the whole narrative was about people coming together to fight against the Saviors, and that is still true here. But we're starting to get that added pumpkin spice latte that is division within the ranks. I mean, what would you expect? It's a load of people from different walks of life following different leaders, all coming together. There's going to be friction, and there's a beautiful scene between Tara and Jesus when they find a load of survivors as to what to do with them that just, I just drink it in. The wrinkles, man, the wrinkles, can't eat wrinkles, doesn't matter. It's really interesting to see Jesus becoming the new voice of reason, as it elevates his character from just being, well, one of the most beautiful men I've ever laid eyes upon. Although his ears stick out a lot, and I'm saying that. Also, Morgan is literally killing it in this episode. That scene where he's walking through the compound just shooting people while having a mental breakdown. More of that, please. That was tasty. So that makes that, and up. So when you see the armoured cars rock up to the compound of the Saviors, you just think to yourself, it's just going to be another one of those, hey, we're just going to shoot you, sit here for an entire episode and do nothing and then just eventually bugger off. But wait, there's shenanigans that happen, because while that is true, while they are just trying to box them in, it's because of the fact that the Rick's army is basically trying to shoot them and kill them so they can turn into walkers and attack their own allies. Which, when you think about it, is really brutal. Ooh-wee. I mean, imagine if MJ the editor just walked in here and had a nibble on my giblets. That didn't sound right. That being said, it is nice to see them changing up the formula to keep us interested. However, while this is an up, it does lead into a down. The bulk of the action in this episode comes from Aaron and Eric basically assaulting the Saviors in that sequence that I just detailed, and it is quite dull. I mean, a lot of their troops seem to have taken the Stormtrooper Academy approach to shooting because they can't hit any f***ing thing. It's just like, come on, you ginger twat. Just shoot him, he's right in goddamn front of you. But I digress. I mean, I understand, panic of war and all that, but still, come on, man. Just pop him one, right in the face. Because of all the misses, you just start thinking, well, there's no real action here. It doesn't feel very threatening. It's toothless, as it were. And because we spend so much time here, it's going to have to get a down. This unfortunately leads to another down though, because so much time is spent on this action sequence, then it's so dull that you actually start thinking to yourself, where are the rest of the characters? There's no Maggie, there's no Rosita, there's no Michonne, and all of which would have broken up the action well, rather than having us dwell on this sequence that just overstays its welcome. And it actually highlights that it's killing momentum for these characters, Maggie especially, as she's meant to have stepped up as being one of the 3 leaders, and we yet see nothing of her. I mean, yeah, she's meant to be dealing with Gregory at this point, but just having a cut to that, just one scene, would have helped a lot. But here, possibly putting her dead in the water. So unfortunately that gets a down. Now, the best thing about Ezekiel is that when his Shakespearean scene chewing gets a bit too much, the writers have had him lift back the curtain and expose the man behind it. These little moments make the man seem deeper and more interesting. And the fact that he only ever seems to do it when Carol is around means that their dynamic is growing as well. It's a great touch as it builds not only a connection, allows them to bounce off each other, but also gives rise to the romance plot that I'm all sure we want. But more than that, it's a contrast to what's going on in the rest of the episode. While everyone else is coming together and clashing, like I said before, these two, from very different walks of life, are coming together in harmony. So it shows that while everything else is falling apart, there is still hope, and that's important. Also, Shiva f***ing savaged a man. That's an up. Speaking of pairings, let's talk about Daryl and Rick teaming up together. Now, the show very rarely puts them together because I think it realizes that when they're both on screen, that the pillars of the show that they are makes every other group look weak in comparison. Which is a shame, as their chemistry is really entertaining, and in this scene, for example, we see them going after a big cache of weapons in a kind of like video game mission as they're hunting through rooms and going up different levels to find it, and it builds with tension that's really sorely needed in this episode. It's a shame that we don't really get much dialogue, but at the same time, this is still definitely an up. In a move that any fan of the comics would have seen coming a mile off, we get Eric getting a bullet in his gut and bleeding off and being dragged away. Is he gonna die? Yes, probably. Yes, definitely, actually. But actually, who cares? I mean, they haven't really built him up much in terms of screen time, so it's kind of not really that much of a loss. I mean, the episode was clearly trying to build him up. It was like, here's his heroic moment, here's his music piece sting, here's him going, I can do this! But then he gets done by this, you know what I mean? So, I don't really care. Don't think that many people will either. It's a down. I just think that they overplayed it a bit. Just being a bit negative there, really. Personal opinion. However, with the death of one character, we get the return of another. Hello, Morales. Oh, it's good to see you, cheeky scamp. What have you been up to since season 1? Quite a lot, it seems. Whew. Naughty boy. Having him pop up shows that The Walking Dead can still surprise us even 8 seasons in, and while it is, admittedly, a bit of fan service, it's a great twist as well, and I'll tell you for why. Basically, using him in this means it's not only a shock twist, but it also re-establishes the power of the Saviors. And let's face it, they were struggling a bit after the first episode and a bit before. Everyone's just thinking, well, do they even have the sort of staying power to be considered a threat? But this, snatching Rick's victory away at the last minute, that is important for narrative reasons, and it's good to see him back, as sweaty as ever. It gives us a nice insight into his character as well. He said before that he would do anything to survive, and that clearly means that he's allying with the strong and quite vicious Saviors. A loose thread tied up for fans and a jumping off point for next week, that, my friends, is an up. Yet, ultimately, what did I think of the episode? Well, it's not a bad one. There were some good moments for sure, but ultimately, it's like a bit of a shrug. It was just okay. There's some good bits, there were some bad bits. It was just like, yeah, all right. Which is a shame, because we should be demanding more from this series. It's season 8. We need to have more than this. So, I know I'm putting a bit of a negative spin on it now. It's just the fact that this wasn't a bad episode, but it just was middle of the road, very middle of the road. It only really gets tense in the last 10 minutes or so, and when you're looking at something for an hour, or 45 minutes if we're getting technical about it, then we demand more than that. So therefore, it is getting my final down of the week. So there we have it, 5 ups and 4 downs for The Walking Dead Season 8 Episode 2, The Damned. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Then go over to Twitter and follow us there for more news and articles like this every goddamn day. A big thank you to James Hunt for the original article which I've adapted, and to MJ who's editing this. Hello, you lovely boy. Until then, as always, I've been Jules, you've been awesome, and I'll speak to you soon. Oh, wasn't that something? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe below, and also the people who made this lovely video, they're appearing right here. But if you're thinking to yourself, I want to see more content, Jules, then why not look above my head, as there probably is some. I don't know. I can't see it. Until next time.